Hey, and welcome to part 2 of the Lean Girl Muscle Building Series video. My name is Angie. Welcome if it's your first time to the Lean Girl YouTube channel. You have stopped on a really good video to start with because it's an exciting one, especially for us girls that are new to building muscle, that are scared of building muscle, and that don't know where to start when we want to build some glorious muscle. So in part 1 of my muscle building series, there are going to be 3 parts to this. Part 1, I spoke about why you need to build muscle. So if you're not sure if muscle is for you, I want you to check out that video because that is the best place to start. And then once I've convinced you why you need muscle, we are going to get into today's video where I'm going to talk about my top muscle building tips that are going to help you optimize your muscle gains and really start building that lean, strong, glorious, sculpted, hard toned body that we are all after. As I mentioned in my previous video, I've had a really long journey from when I first started in fitness to doing, first of all, I was pretty overweight. When I was a kid, I weighed like 87 kilos and I'm pretty tall, but I was probably like 30 kilos overweight, 40 kilos overweight. So I came from a background of dieting a lot. I was always up and down. I lost a lot of weight. I then was under eating, and then throughout my whole sort of early 20s, I was really up and down. The serial dieter of note, always trying something new, always on the next fad, and I never really got a lot of progress, as you may know if you have been there too. And then I finally started to, get more into fitness, into training, started to understand the whole calories in versus calories out concept, started tracking my macros. And my training, when I first started, was very much high intensity. It was a lot of cardio, and my main goal was to really lose fat, and I wanted to just burn as many calories as possible. As I've progressed in my journey, and you have to know that it is a journey, so a lot of people, that is where they start, and perhaps that's where you are right now. And there's a shift that needs to happen, and when you start focusing your training on building muscle and using your nutrition predominantly to lose fat, when those two come together, it is a match made in lean body heaven. So today I'm going to be talking about the top tips that you need to know. And you know what, tips, I feel like it's a flimsy word. I want to say like the top game changers when it comes to building muscle that you need to do if you are serious about building a lean body, if you are ready to take your results up a level, if you are ready to build that butt, girl, then today's video is for you. So I'm going to go through a couple of my top tips. I'm going to talk about mindset, I'm going to talk about nutrition, and then I'm going to talk about your training. So let's talk about mindset, which is going to be the biggest hurdle that you need to overcome when you are looking to build lean muscle. All of us, our main goal has been to lose fat all of our lives. We want to get skinnier, we want to lose weight on the scale, we want to, our clothes to feel looser. That has been the goal, and we have been praised for that, and we say hallelujah when we get on the scale and it's down, and that is a really huge mindset shift to when you're wanting to build muscle. So the first thing that I want to talk about is I want to talk about mindset when it comes to building muscle and the shift that needs to happen if you really want to take this seriously and you really want to make progress. So when you are wanting to build muscle, you need to know that it is a very different feeling to losing fat. What happens when you build muscle? My girls, the muscle weighs something, okay? And the muscle has to go somewhere, right? So there's no way that you can be building a substantial amount of muscle and consistently be seeing the numbers on the scale drop. And we all know that we have so much history with the scale. The scale holds us back in so many ways, and it stops us from making progress. You cannot want to grow your glutes. You cannot want to improve the muscle tone on your arms and actually have some definition if you are not willing to see the numbers go up on the scale. I'm gonna be frank with you, I'm gonna be real with you, because that is the situation, okay? Muscle weighs something. Now, let me put a disclaimer up. It takes a hell of a long time to build muscle. okay? And also to build a lot of muscle. What you think you can build in a month is probably gonna take you a year, okay? The rate of muscle growth, especially for females, and if you don't take any drugs of any kind, basically steroids, rate of muscle growth is extremely slow. So I need you to remember, firstly, you're not gonna get bulky. Secondly, you need to know that there will be some increases on the scale. What can you expect? On average, okay, if you are training really hard, if you are sitting at maintenance calories, and we'll get into the nutrition part of it now, if you are sitting at maintenance or just above, you can expect to gain between 0.25 to half a kilo in a month. That is if you are killing it in the gym. That is if you are hitting all of your macros, getting your protein in. That is how much you can expect to gain, okay? So what a lot of people confuse is they're like, okay, now I'm gonna be bulking, I'm gonna be trying to gain muscle, I'm just gonna go crazy on the food, eat as much as I can. They don't have a structured training program, and of course, that is the way to gain fat and not actually gain muscle. But we're gonna get a bit more into that. But the first thing that I need you to know is you're not gonna feel as lean or as shredded a lot of the time when you increase your food and when you start focusing on pushing it hard in the gym. You do have a fluffier feeling, so you may feel like your abs are not showing as much or you don't look as lean. This is extremely normal, and this is generally when people give up. This is like, hold on, after 2 weeks, they're like, hold on, I feel like I've definitely gained fat, this is not for me, and they quickly back down to a diet phase. A muscle building phase, to really make an impact, you need to commit to a good 4 or 5 months, 6 preferably, of building muscle. Because as I said, that is how long it takes. You can gain 1/4 of a kilo of muscle in a month. So over 6 months, how much is that? That's literally like 2 or 3 kilos, right? Yeah, if you're lucky. So it is a really slow process, but 2 kilos of muscle on your frame, it can show some impressive results. So this was a really long-winded way to say, girls, if you're gonna do it, you need to commit, you need to get your mind in it, and you need to actually understand that you are not gonna feel as lean and shredded as you are when you are in a calorie deficit. And if you wanna make real progress, and if you watch video number 1, you know why we want the muscle, right? Then you are gonna have to get over that. So this takes me to point number 2. You want to be measuring your progress. This is really important. It's not about just eating whatever you want when you're trying to build muscle and just saying, okay, cool, it's all gonna go to muscle gain. You will gain more fat than muscle if you just go completely apeshit and eat whatever you want. So you still want to be monitoring and tracking your progress. And what people don't understand is when you are at maintenance or a slight surplus, it is even more important to be accurate and to be tracking your calories. Let me tell you why. Because when we are at maintenance, right, it is a lot easier for maintenance to become a big surplus. When we're in a deficit, right, we have a lot of room to play between the deficit and getting to a surplus. We could have a good 500 calories between. So say you have a bad day in a deficit, you're okay, you're at maintenance. Whereas when you're sitting at maintenance or, even in a slight surplus, that can really quickly become a much bigger surplus than we're after. So you want to still be tracking your calories and macros accurately. I'm gonna get into the nutrition part in a second. But besides for just tracking your calories and macros, I want you to actually measure your progress in terms of your body. So often, we just go on the scale and we use that one tool to measure our progress. In my programs, for example, we take photos, we do measurements, and we use the scale. So we have 3 different tools that we are using to measure what our progress is like. And let me tell you here that measurements and photos are way more accurate than the scale because there are so many fluctuations. I have many videos on fluctuations if you would like to understand them more, but my weight can fluctuate up to 2 kilos up, 2 kilos down. My fluctuations can be huge depending on hormones, depending on what I've eaten, depending on various factors. So, often, the scale will bump 2 kilos, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go back into a deficit, and you never see that progress. So take measurements, take photos, and if the scale is going to get into your head, do not get on the scale, okay? Just do your measurements, just do your photos, you stick to your strategy, you track your calories accurately, and you say, you know what? I believe in my strategy, I'm sticking to my strategy, and I'm not going to let the scale actually hold me back from doing it. So number 2, track your progress. Okay, let's talk about nutrition here, because this is going to be one of the real keys that is going to help you to optimize that muscle gain. Here are the facts, okay? You cannot optimally build muscle in a calorie deficit. Okay, I know that that's your comfort zone. I know that that's where you're happy to be. But let me tell you that you cannot really feed the muscle growth if you are always in a deficit and you are under feeding your body. Okay, I have tried it myself. If you think muscle growth is slow when you're at maintenance or a surplus, try being in a deficit. That's not to say that it's impossible to build muscle in a deficit, but you will have a lot more progress and your results will be increased so much more if you are sitting at a maintenance level or a slight surplus. And if that scares you to go in a surplus, start with maintenance and you are going to see how much stronger you get, how much faster you get stronger, and how you're able to progress and actually see those muscles growing. So this is going to be a big one for you to move out of a deficit and into maintenance or even a slight surplus, and that could be an extra 50, 100 calories. It is going to go and help you with those muscle gains. Okay, then the second part to your nutrition is you need to be optimizing your protein levels in every single meal. So normally when we're in a deficit, all I say is focus on hitting your daily protein target, which by the way stays the same, 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. But when we are really trying to optimize muscle gain, now we're going to get a little bit more technical, okay? Because normally when we're in a deficit, we're really trying to optimize fat loss, and here we're trying to optimize that muscle gain. So spreading your meals out to 3 to 4 meals a day and spreading that protein out is going to be really key. And now, we're talking about fractional improvements in overall muscle protein synthesis. I'm not going to get too technical, but actually spacing your protein out so that your muscles are always having protein to get working on is really going to be key. So if you are perhaps doing intermittent fasting, if you are moving into a muscle building phase, you will have more calories to play with, which will mean, for intermittent fasting, when we are trying to reduce calories, often intermittent fasting can be helpful because we have a shorter eating window. However, here when we really want to optimize that, I would say rather skip the intermittent fasting, and you are going to want to get protein in soon after your workout, especially if you're working out in the morning. So the third tip there on the nutrition, so the first one is maintenance calories or surplus. Second one, have that protein goal, so 2 grams per kilogram of body weight, and then we want to space the protein out evenly. And then the last point that I wanted to share on nutrition is that creatine as a supplement is one of the most widely researched. It's really safe and it is a fantastic supplement. You guys know I'm not for supplements. I don't promote many or any of them really, besides for my whey protein and creatine. So as a woman, I know we're also pretty scared of creatine. We're like, oh my God, this is gonna make us bloated. But I promise you, I have been having creatine now for a good few months, and in the first week or 2, your body can take a little bit of time to adjust and you may feel, as I say, a little bit more fluffy, but that water will quickly subside and you'll completely go back to normal. It is a really, really beneficial supplement to take if you really want to optimize your muscle gain. So as a supplement, besides for your whey protein, of course, which is going to help you reach your protein goal, I would really recommend having and including creatine in your workout. And normally the dosage for that for most people is just 5 grams per day. I don't do any kind of loading. Your muscles will quickly saturate with the creatine and you'll be absolutely fine. Just your standard creatine you can find at Discam will be just perfect. And then last but not least, let's talk a bit about training. Now, as I mentioned, I was a cardio bunny. I would do really light weights, a lot of reps, and you feel like you're doing a lot, right? You feel good when you're sweating and you're burning calories. But let me tell you that that kind of training is not going to get you the results that you want, and it's not going to help you build muscle. The training style that you really need to focus on is called progressive overload training. And in a nutshell, that means you need to be monitoring what weights you're doing, what exercises you're doing, and you need to be consistently increasing your output, right? So for example, this week I'm doing bicep curls and I'm using 5 kilo weights and I'm doing 12 reps on each and I'm doing 4 sets. Next week, we want to be increasing that. So we either want to be increasing the weight, we want to be increasing the reps, or increasing the sets. okay? And if you are just constantly doing the same exercise and the same weight and the same reps and the same sets, our bodies get so used to this, and they are now really good at doing that, right? They don't need to adapt or change, which is when muscle growth happens in order to perform that movement. So consistently increasing your weights, sets, or reps is going to be forcing your muscles to grow, and essentially is going to help you to build that muscle. And really, you don't need to focus on fancy exercises. You don't need to do anything crazy. It is the compound, simple exercises that really work. And sometimes it can feel a little bit boring. You want to change it up all the time. But the best thing to do is to focus on simple exercises and rather make it exciting to reach new personal bests instead of always changing it up, because in that way you're not actually sure, oh, what did I do on this exercise last time and this one, and it just becomes really confusing. So what's important here is to have a set workout program and to consistently use those compound lifts and be progressing on each one. And really, this is another thing on the tracking. You need to be recording what the weights are, what the reps are. Just have it in the notes in your phone, and the next time you're doing the exercise, you'll be able to go back and you'll be able to intentionally increase what you are doing. And that is really going to be key for your training in a nutshell. And guys, you need to be pushing yourself harder than you think, okay? It's not like, oh my God, it's burning now, let me stop. You need to be a couple reps away from failure on a lot of the exercises that you're doing to ensure that you are really pushing yourself and really optimizing that muscle breakdown, which is essentially going to help you with your muscle growth. So I will do another video and we can talk a bit more about the details on the training. Let me know if you'd like that. And of course, I do share more about this on my Instagram, so go and check it out. And I've got some really cool, simple workouts for you to try as well that are going to be using this style of training, progressive overload. And then as I mentioned, I will also do another video as part of this series where I'm going to take you through a full day of eating when I'm in a muscle building phase. So let me know if that's something that you would like. So I really hope that this inspired you to take your muscle building seriously. I hope that these couple of tips are going to guide you along the way, and save this video when you feel like, oh my gosh, I really want to revert back to my deficit. Is this even worth it? What am I doing? What is it that I can expect? And I want you to rewatch it, and I want you to get that mind right, and I want you to know how much stronger and how your body is going to transform once you start focusing on building that lean muscle. So that is it for today's video. I hope that you found it useful. Remember to show some love in the comments if you want to get access to my Lean Girl Kitchen Coach. That is going to help you with all of those muscle building meals. So one special subscriber gets free access for life to my Lean Girl Kitchen Coach every single week. So subscribe to the channel, show some love down below, and it could be you. So I will see you guys next in part 3 of this video, and let me know down below if you have any other questions that I may not have touched on. I always try and get to all of them as best I can, and I will see you guys in part 3 where we are going to be doing the fun part, which is going to be the eating, of course. So I will see you there, sending you all so much love. Let's build that muscle, girl. Hustle for that muscle. My name is, let's do that again. So when we are losing fat, by the way, this is quite delicious. Tastes like Fanta. 8 calories.